Hello, everyone. How are you? It's been a while. I still have my daughter now. This week is going back to school half day, so I have a little bit of breathing room, so I'm happy about that. Thank you, everyone, for your condolences about Junior. I appreciated that, and all of your kind comments. I always appreciate to hearing from you guys. I want to clear up one thing because it keeps coming up in phone calls with people about the cross that I wear. I don't wear a cross. I used to, but I wear an ankh. Ankhs are where? What? Okay, I was gonna say I just had her. Ankhs are gateways. And so this is what I wear. And of course, it's a symbol for the divine feminine. But when you look at a gateway, when those come on the earth, the gate, it's sort of like staked into the earth. And these go as far as you can see, like, yeah, across the horizon is what Metatron is saying. And they're on fire. There are more than one of these that go along. Okay, so that's what they look like. And that's what I'm wearing, the symbol of feminine awakening and power. So there's so much happening. I just I'm going to talk about the election first, and then we can put that to the side. Uh, so I had spoken in the last video about how I had seen different things playing out when I'd asked. And so someone said, could you just share what it is that you did see? So I'm going to say, of course, first of all, that this can change. And it is changing. It's changing so often that it's different every 7, 8 hours. That's why I did not get into what was going to happen with the sitting president of the United States when he was diagnosed, because I saw so many just shifts and changes. And when someone is like starved for attention and does so much to gain attention, I don't like to give it. And it's just, I don't see that it's helpful or beneficial for us, because the creator is not going to share the details of someone's life plan with us. And of course, I'm glad that he has recovered. I wanted to just discuss what I was shown. In the beginning, it was that the Democratic nominee became sick, but the time has passed that I saw was possible, and I mentioned that each of the candidates have the ruler of their sixth house of health being squared, which is an energy of tension by Mars, and so that can make a health. There could be like a health occurrence, which we did see with one of the candidates. So that passed. And then the last thing that I was shown was that the Democratic nominee did win by a small margin, but it was ruled like that it wasn't honored, that the win was not honored. That's the word that I'm hearing, so that's what I'm going to say. So I'm not really waiting for November 3rd to pass. I'm waiting for what's coming, like in the weeks following that. There could be some issues, let's say. So yeah. So those of you who have watched me for a while know that I work with the energy of the Holy Spirit, that we also refer to as the Metatron vibration. I heard a tarot reader talking about how he doesn't associate Metatron with an angel because the energy of Metatron is so giant, and he sees it sort of like this giant, and it is. But we can also see him in his angelic form. And so I'm going to get more into that when I do the video about Metatron, but not now, because people are too distracted with things that change. So I want to wait until there's opportunity to talk about these kinds of things and people are interested in learning about that stuff. So I'm waiting for him to tell me. I know I heard a lot of you respond to that, so he asked me just to say it's in divine timing and that I follow his schedule. So I will be doing it, but it's not going to be, not right now. There's too many other things happening. So, I don't know exactly, obviously, what's going to happen. I checked in just now before I started talking to you about it to see if there were any updates. And I do see that it's back and forth. Now, I'm going to mention, just so that you're aware, that long time ago, I mean, maybe before primaries, that I saw that there were 4 states for sure, possibly 5, where there was tampering with the vote. So that's why I've always said, ask that the vote be kept sacred and for the integrity of the vote, because that's what's most important now. But we're already seeing it being set up. It's funny because when I was shown the vision of the Biden win and then something happening that was dark, I'm going to say that it was dark. And part of that is that they are not giving me the complete vision, but also it's that, yeah, he's saying that there was a reason that it was censored. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play out. Or, like I said, that could change. Okay, so I'm not saying that for sure that's going to happen. Please don't hear me say that. I'm not saying anything like that. I saw when I checked just before this that things are moving, things are shifting, and they're shifting quite often. So we don't know for surely. When I checked the not this year's solar return, but the next solar return for the current sitting president for next year, it did look as if they were still in office. So I'm just going to tell you that much. It could also be that, the head of a company. So can't say for sure that's what that means. But it did seem to me that's what was going to happen. So we shall see. I also don't know, just like you. So I know everyone has their theories on astrology. There's astrologers who want Biden to win, read the chart one way. Astrologers who want Trump to win, read it another way. But yeah, you can't say for sure. I did say in 2018, and I stand by it, and I've seen a lot of astrologers posting now about the tumult, that it looks like the day of the inauguration, it is not a happy day. So whomever, and I think we know that, whoever is called the winner, that half of the country is not going to be pleased with it. And so it's really important for us to remember that he's talking about staying out of entanglements and not being personally or emotionally involved in the events moving forward. Because, unless you're in a position or the architect who can change the outcome or influence it in some way, that it's important that we just, and I'm not saying not to speak up if something unjust occurs. I'm not saying that. I'm saying being emotionally involved, being angry, costing yourself energy. It doesn't help anyone. And when we are in that place where we're unable to see the opposite opinion of others, and we don't have compassion for them, we do have then a chance to, he's saying, step into their shoes and to have the experience that they've had and how they've been colored toward conservatism or liberalism. And so really important just not to judge others, or just to stay out of the fray as much as possible, because it does look to be that there are a lot of people who are unhappy, a lot of unrest. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that, and we shall see if there's anything to come back with, and a message to bring in relation to this. Again, I surely will do that if I'm asked to. So, how are you guys doing? Pretty hairy out there. And we're coming into now this full moon in Taurus. It's a very exciting full moon, okay? That boring. So it's interesting too because full moons we typically associate those with a lot of emotion. The moon in Taurus, that's her favorite place to be. The moon being the feminine and Taurus representing the goddess. Taurus, pleasure, the senses, sensuality, taking our time to do things, appreciating the taste of good food and good wine, all of the pleasure senses that relates to Taurus. And the moon likes to be there. She's very comfortable in Taurus. And when you add in Uranus and the energy of that Aquarian energy that has nothing whatsoever to do with water, I heard a reader, talking about that, and the water that is being poured from the, what do they call that now? It just flew right out of my head. I know it's not the star bear, but that's what keeps coming to my head is star seed or the water bear. Thank you. That water is then Pisces. Okay, the water that's coming out is Pisces, the constellation of Pisces. So yeah, Uranus and the Aquarian energy is more like that Queen of Swords, where you can just cut somebody off. And be cold. There's no emotion involved. It's just like, this is what has to be done, and that's the way it is. Like my son, I have 3 Aquarian children, and I was complaining that my daughter had to be without power in California for so long when she was there, and he just looked at me like, he was like, Mom, that's what's helping like everyone. And I was like, oh, right, because there's so much about what's best for all that is and humanity. But it is an energy, Uranus, of shock, of sudden upheaval, sudden changes. All my life, since way before I knew astrology or understood the meaning, starting around age 5, I would dream of tornadoes, and I can go back now and I can look at the Uranus transits that I was having. Uranus, the tornadic energy, electricity, so lightning, also Uranus, something of shock and awe, but the cosmos. And this story that is unfolding now, when you look at the moon, which is our inheritance, it links to the ancestors, it links to origins, like where we were originally birthed. And then you look at Uranus, the cosmos. This is about coming back to your cosmic roots. And, about 250,000, 300,000 years ago, a lot of the star systems of light got together and decided that we were going to, what am I trying to say? Seed the earth, populate the earth, the grand experiment of light, to see if we could begin incarnating here and with our own free will choose to come back to the light as humanity in general. As we're here learning how to move back into love, become once again beings of love. And of course that happens personally, one person at a time. This isn't a galactic fleet that's going to show up and rescue everyone. That's a good fable, but really we came as those on the star fleets, and we the process of evolution then began, and we began populating the earth. And so a few months ago, I mentioned it on video too, about channeling the Sirians, but so that fixed star Sirius falls in the constellation. It's in the constellation of Gemini, but it falls in the tropical zodiac. It falls in Cancer, in the sign of Cancer. And that's why we have Isis here, because Isis is represented with Sirius, the energy of Isis and birth, and bringing things to fruition, planting the seeds of discovery is what they're saying. And so I was speaking with the ancestors, and this was a few months ago, just by myself. And I was speaking with the Native American ancestor. And then to his left, there was a Sirian being. And, she'd come in from Sirius. And they are very tall and don't look like us. They have long, graceful features, she's saying to me. Almost she's saying like as if our bodies could be elongated and all of it, but not quite the same anatomically, she's saying. And I feel strange calling her a she because I know she isn't a she. But yeah, long and it's like crystalline white with pale blue. That's what they look like. Is crystalline white and pale blue. I thought about wearing that, but I'm a Scorpio and I feel funny wearing black because sometimes when I do that, people are like, is everything okay? Yeah, I'm a Scorpio. This is my color. This is what I'm the most comfortable in. So, it's the color of transmutation. And Metatron kept talking to me about the cosmic egg energy, and I didn't put together why. I was speaking with the ancestors, and then someone from Sirius came in. That was a few months ago, and I had no idea that this full moon in Taurus would relate to the ancestors and the cosmic as well, with Uranus and the moon there at the same degree. So before we get more into the energies of that full moon, I want to let you know when it will take place. So this is happening for most of us on Halloween, All Hallows Eve, the day before All Saints Day and the Day of the Dead, Samhain, for us in the Northern Hemisphere, and Beltane in the Southern Hemisphere. And that is the day that the veil is the thinnest on the Day of the Dead, and we celebrate it the night before, getting ready and sort of protecting ourselves from all of the darkness that will be coming to visit. I don't associate death so much with darkness. Darkness is really just the hidden parts of ourselves that are sad, that need to be revealed so that they can be healed. But it is significant. It's the second full moon this month, so it's a blue moon. It isn't a super moon, but it is a blue moon, and it is happening on October 31st, All Hallows Eve. And I don't know, like for a lot of you who do readings yourselves, I find it a lot easier to speak with those who have passed away around that time. I remember when I first started before YouTube. Well, yeah, it was a while ago. I was at a healing circle, and a girl came in and wanted to speak with her grandfather who had passed over, and it was literally like as if he was. I could even hear his breaths between sentences. I mean, it was like he was sitting right there. It's so thin, the veil. And they're always with us, of course. They always are. It's just easier to make contact with them. But, that's Pluto, our roots. And Pluto links with the ancestors and what is in our DNA. And it's the richness of the occult and the cosmic knowings that you have in the subconscious that are just buried there. And you just need someone to come along and remind you of those. And then you start flowing right back with them, right? Just like the good old days when you knew them all firsthand. So this is taking place at 2:49 p.m. in London. Chicago, this will be 9:49 a.m. Rio de Janeiro, 11:49 a.m. And in Sydney, it's 1:49 a.m. on November 1st. And, it's 111, and that's actually, well, for you guys, Beltane. So, yeah. And I think that I have the appropriate colors for the Northern and Southern Hemisphere, that we have, the holiday that we have coming up. That's the cross quarter day. And it's the day between, the fall, equinox and the winter solstice as well. And that's my birthday. And that's one of the reasons why I was always so, able to link into past lives very easily. That's just part of my work and to speak with the ancestors all the time. So we will do some work in relation to that at the end of the video. And so let's talk about the astrology of it. Okay, so you can see that X there, but I want to talk about something else, and I thought about maybe writing it into the chart too. So if you notice where Venus and Mary Magdalene, the asteroid Mary Magdalene is sitting flush with Venus, and Venus is ruling this moon because the moon is in Taurus. She is in her other sign of Libra right now. And I want you to notice that between where Mercury, who is at the end of Libra, with the little R there because he's retrograde, between Mercury and Venus is the 15th degree of Libra. And so it's directly opposing where Mars is sitting in the middle of Aries. And if you notice where Mars is, the guy with the arrow in the middle of Aries there, he is between Uranus and Neptune. That's where he began his retrograde. He's just 1 degree away from where he will begin moving back at the time of the full moon. But when you see Mars in that energy at the midpoint there, that's sort of like being almost like in the spin cycle. Sort of like where we're being rocked and we're being spun at the same time. And it's watery. It's a lot of water. And of course, water links with emotions. It links with the past. It links with our ancestors. It links with the feminine. And so it's like Mars is stuck between something of the past and moving away from like teachings of the ancestors and the ancestral stories of like lack, going without, having to sacrifice something in order to gain something, and the change, inevitable change that's coming. We started out the year, and it may have started actually at the end of 2019, where we had 6 new moons in a row that were hitting Uranus, which is something of a big change. And so there's something about when we are moving forward that there's going to be a different landscape. And I woke up a few months ago, and the left side of my bedroom was a huge membrane. It was gray. It looked like brain matter almost. I don't know how to describe it. But they were showing me, and it was on the left, and the left is the past, right? But there's something about, shoring up energy and storing it there, and also bringing in reinforcements. And it's all sort of being kept there safely until it's time for the timelines to meet up and for those things to come into play. I also wanted to mention, because a friend of mine was sharing with me this morning something that happened with her, showing where an opportunity had gone to the wayside, that it isn't when you hear like in a tarot reading or wherever, that there was an opportunity that was missed. That doesn't necessarily mean that would have been a great thing and you let it pass by. That's not the truth of that. The truth is that when you're in a certain place, you contract, and I mean a certain place in our growth. We contract with soulmates because we need like this lesson and this lesson and this lesson and this lesson. And so it's a plan is Metatron is saying ignited, that helps us come into contact with that soulmate so that we can implement those lessons, okay, and move through that. When you grow past those lessons, or like if you've healed something and maybe there was a not so nice lesson mixed in there, or that person did, Then he's talking about then the experience and the timing are rerouted. Okay, that's what Metatron is saying, rerouted. So I don't know, a year and a half ago or so, I'm not going to go into the entire dream, but I was on some sort of space water thing in the water, and I know what that means. And moving by me like a parade was all these opportunities. Like I mean, it was just a parade that went on and on and on. It kind of like came by me, missed me completely, and just moved out into space. And so we can feel, even if you're not able to, recall that, or even if you aren't shown that, it's that you still have that feeling a lot of times, and sometimes people don't know why. They feel upset. But it could be that a part of us believes that we've missed something, and this is when, in this energy, this is when things come back. Things that we thought were lost can come back in a better way, with better lessons, or let's say more graceful lessons. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely something to do with that membrane, things being in safekeeping, but we're not quite ready to see. But there will be, and I've been talking about this all year, that we're waiting for the soul family and things to come together, and new contracts to be drawn up, and new methods and new ways of doing business. Those things all being prepared for us and falling into place. So we sort of have been in this limbo, and we are. We are. I mean, things are still moving, but it isn't like there isn't a plague, right? We can't ignore the plague. So we sort of are in that limbo energy. But because of, Uranus and the moon being in the sign of the physical body, if there are any health concerns that come up in this energy, please do not take that for granted. Please have that looked into. This does talk about, people leaving. Once again, that Jupiter, Pluto, when they're about to come for their third and final meeting, they'll get together right at the dark of the new moon. The dark of the moon, it will be on the 12th. I need to check that date before I say that to everybody. That Venus and Pluto come back for their final meetup. They met on the 4th of April was the first time, and there was like a worldwide meditation to celebrate this gateway. And a lot of astrologers, myself included, were like, because it's a gateway that says that a lot of people, massive amounts of people, are going to die, because Jupiter magnifies whatever he's closest to. And he's also the ancient ruler of Pisces. And when he meets up with Pluto, then it's a lot of people crossing over. And the bridge, I shared with a client the other day about the size of the bridge. And because we were in a session together, she was able to see it too. It's sort of like, it's typically almost like a dirt road kind of opening. And right now it's about a 10-lane interstate. I'm not kidding. And it's been like that for a long time. And that's why a lot of people are in fear, because they can feel that. They can feel that bridge hovering there. But the bridge moves both ways, and we can be visited by the ancestors. And I always, they are always with you. You can ask for specific signs, but I want to tell you that this full moon energy is going to be with us a lot longer than most full moons. Mercury is at 26 degrees at the time of the full moon, and then he's going to move back just one more degree. And when he begins to move forward on November 3rd, he's going to be carrying that energy. He's going to come back to where he was at the time of the moon. And Mercury is the messenger of the gods. He's the closest one to the sun. He has a lot to do with the Metatron vibration. And so he's sort of keeping us in that, he also rules cycles. He rules rhythms and harmony and the flow of things. And so while he is doing what he's doing, he's sort of keeping us in that vibration. So that goes on until November 7th. Now, as far as what I said about following uh, the um, the election, I would say like the 9th, 10th. I don't know what the significance is with November 9th. November 9th, Venus in her sign of Libra is going to oppose Mars, who is at his degree of, where he is before he begins to move forward and where he started his retrograde. I'm going to need to stop the camera here. Okay. So the 9th is when Venus will oppose Mars. Venus is in her own sign, and Mars is in his own sign. And then on the 10th, the Sun in Scorpio is going to trine Neptune retrograde as Mercury enters Scorpio. So I would say, if there is something with deception, those dates, 9, 10, look like that could be when it happens. Of course, and then of course the meeting of Pluto and Jupiter comes. This is all in the same week, like a span of, like 6 days. So then the 14th, Mars is going to move forward once again during the dark of the moon as the sun sextiles Pluto. So that's something of a choice when the sun is in a sextile with Pluto. Pluto, of course, is ruling that sun while she is in Scorpio. And then on the 15th of November, we'll have the new moon. So Metatron was talking about in relation to Taurus and the symbolism of the goddess, about the feminine wisdom and of patience and tolerance and having hope while we're waiting patiently, that this isn't a time where we grab our swords and run forward, that this is a time of coming to a place of receiving and remembering that he's saying the star child within you. So maybe he wants me to talk about that. I don't know if any of you have ever had the opportunities to be in the starseed nurseries. They are so much fun, and there are so many babies there, and they all just sort of glow. There's all of these magical little babies in there, and so it's about getting back in touch with him or with her, going within. And I know that it's dull. I know, but that's what we need right now. The symbolism. So the fixed star Hamal is where this full moon falls, and it's a star on the ram that's right in the middle of the forehead, the third eye, and the constellation of Aries. So about 600 years ago, Hamal moved into Taurus. It's part of the constellation of Aries, and because of that constellation, that is the energy of the Hierophant that we find in the sign of Taurus now. It's the Hierophant energy. And so, there are the Hierophant can be controversial because it can be that religiousness that that we have stored in the subconscious that comes out. I hear it so many times in readings. It's so stands out to me when people start talking about earning and if these people don't do this, no, we're moving past religion now, and so it's the Hierophant more as he's talking about the Hierophant as the conductor of the Creator's grace and the Creator's goodness and kindness and everlasting love, and that we don't need to diminish our power within, the light that we have within us, by living up to a standard that is set from the human paradigm, is what he's saying. So something that a man or a woman, mostly men with religion, came up with to tell us how we should behave, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, but really listening for your own divine guidance. He was talking about the truth being very elusive at this time. Of course, the energy of the trickster, Mercury still happening, but then, he's moving into Scorpio. And with Scorpio, having a Mercury in Scorpio, as I do, you really can pick up on what isn't said. And he was bringing that to my attention, that to listen for, he's saying to check people's motives, to be cautious about the motives of others and those who may be longing for companionship or wanting to come into union. He's talking about promises, unfulfilled promises, things that have been said, would occur, and then the person backtracking on that. And so, yeah, listening to what's said in between the lines. He's talking about reading in between the lines. And then that what we wish for and what we are looking for, and satisfying the needs, our emotional needs, and our understanding and our own wisdom, that those are not found outside of us, that those are found within, and reminding us that what we're seeking is also seeking us. And if we turn inward, that's where the gifts, he's saying the cornucopia is unwrapped and unravels within, that the richness and the gifts of our cosmic inheritance and our divine inheritance are all within us. So I'm going to read the Sabian symbol for 9 degree of Taurus is a fully, this actually might be the Chandra degree. So I'll put it in the description box with the link. But it's a fully decorated Christmas tree. In northern or mountainous countries where the Christmas tree symbol took form, we find a contrast between the tree outside, bare and normally covered with snow, and the tree inside the home, loaded with decorations and gifts for the family. If we follow up the meaning with the preceding symbol, we see that snow has come outside, but the prepared and closely united group has created abundance, beauty, and happiness within, overcoming the cold barrenness of the outside world. Just as man had overcome in a previous symbol this natural obstacle to his progress, the Christ symbol is also included in the background. That is the vivid faith in a transformed future. And we're going to need to stay in a place of hope and faith and trust that things are going to work out right now. And he also was speaking to me about the energy and the need for forbearance. And that's part of that Mars Saturn story that we're in the middle of, that's still happening with Mars squaring those planets in Capricorn. That will teach forbearance. Forbearance, patience, self-control, restraint, and tolerance. So it's funny because I was taking the screenshot of this so that I could, make sure I said it correctly. And it cut off. And it cut off where it says the action of refraining from exercising a legal right. And then it cut off. So I thought that was interesting because both candidates have all their attorney stuff already happening, getting ready for the fight. But yeah, that, Uranus is linked with awakening and the cosmic. And so I'm going to share messages from the Sirians. We are here today to remind you of the cosmic inheritance that is your due, that is your divine birthright, to help you to remember how to link in to the energies of the great cosmos. That the links that happen within your heart and the seeds that are planted there began with your cosmic origins. That you no longer need to see that your DNA is substandard. So she's saying that a lot of us look to the paths of the ancestors, she's saying, as having made, quote, wrong choices. It's important to keep in mind that the ancestors made the best choices available to them. And the same thing occurred on planets other than the planet Earth, and all of the planets throughout all that is, throughout the cosmos, where your cosmic origins are found. Many of you speak of longing to be home, to be back in that place. We can assure you that although you are unaware, a part of you is always there, energetically speaking. That we are always communing with you and communicating to you our highest vibrations of love and light. We are truly all one. The lessons meant to be gained in this experience of sickness, of illness at this time, is to show how connected everyone in the world is with one another. Just as traditions and formalities are passed down and spread from culture to culture, as the earth was populated, we brought our own teachings to each of those places, to all of the inhabitants of the earth. Some from the Pleiades, some from Sirius, Arcturus, and so on and so forth. But you are questioning the link between your cosmic heritage and the inheritance left here on the earth, or beginning here on the earth with the indigenous peoples. Truly, they had face-to-face contact with us. We were able to share our wisdoms and teachings and even building techniques with many peoples. Many of these places have yet to be uncovered, but trust and believe that they remain in those same places, exactly where they are meant to be, where they can do the best, and bring the most comfort to all of humanity. And she's showing me how these sacred sites are throughout, like all over the globe, but then she's showing me the network, she's calling it, like where they link in through the grid that is in the earth, like actually inside the earth. It's beginning at its core, she's saying, and then they feed out from there. And there are different geometric symbols placed throughout the earth's crust. Energetic, she's talking about energetic symbols that aren't able to be seen with the physical eye, but know that these energy centers are still there. As you grow and you learn more about all of us, our peoples, she's saying, there is a tendency to, or a belief, she's saying, that you should leave the physical body in order to link in with our energy. But the best and most prosperous way to link in is to do so through the Earth Star. Being fully grounded and in your body as you are meant to be as incarnated beings. And linking in with the magnet of the Earth Star pulls your vibration into the Earth's core, out to all of the symbols that I have just shown within the Earth, and those spread out then to the cosmos, sort of like each individual having their own cosmic flare. But you needn't put yourself to all of that trouble to gain our attention. You can simply ask that our presence be with you, and we will surely answer the call. Okay. And then I want to ask, okay, so he's Creek. He's a Creek Native American. He is very tall as well. Not quite as, he's saying, gangly. Not quite as thin. Not a waif. And he is here to remind us of the forbearance shown by our ancestors. That we already have that trait, that trait, he's saying, exists within us. that many, many times, countless times before records were kept, humanity has faced times of darkness and of uncertainty. Times when the powers that be, or the men or the women in charge, enslaved the peoples, that treachery abounded, and then the light came. That however dark the night, the return of the light is even more magnificent, more spectacular. Allow it to warm your heart. Allow the thoughts of it, the memories of it to warm your heart. Be open to us and engaging with us. When you feel us in your presence, you will know it is us, because you will be overwhelmed with a sense of peace and harmony and belonging, much the same as the one found within the self when you come to know the true self. You will honor your ancestors in your resolve to keep the faith, to hold the light, and to show and to prove that you are able to rise above the storm occurring all around you. We honor you. We honor your light. We thank you sincerely. We are proud of you. That was nice. Whew. Okay. All right, guys. So I hope that those messages were good. I'm going to have to listen back and hear what they said. But I hope that, you're all holding a lot of light and a lot of hope for the future. Just remember, if it does, break into chaos, that everything is unfolding in the way that it's meant to. And even when that is hard for us to understand, whatever side of it you're on, it's still the correct way. And the way that is best, Metatron is saying, for all that is. And every day, Metatron is saying, every day is an opportunity of hope and peace and blessings. Hold it within your heart. You are strong. You are capable. You are ready. Okay. Whew. Okay, everybody. So I hope that you found this helpful, and I'll be back, I hope within a week or so, I hope. My daughter has like 2.5 hours of school a day now. So it's pretty exciting. But yeah, so hopefully I'll have more time to do videos. We'll see how long that lasts, but yeah. Anyway, everybody, I'm sending you so much love and courage and grace moving forward. Exciting times, guys. We're living in exciting times. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.